Hi guys, welcome to Nate's Reads. My name is Nate and this is a channel where we talk about books, manga and potentially other things. I say potentially because this is my first video, this is my first filming video. I don't know if it'll be the first one on my channel. So we haven't done anything yet, so potentially other things. So for my first video, I thought why not film a TBR for December. I should have some timestamps in the description for different areas of this video if you want to jump around, if I figure out how to do that. I don't know if I've never done that before, so we'll see. Just in case there are sections of videos you guys weren't particularly interested in or you were more interested in. So to start this video, I just want to give a little bit of backstory into my reading journey. I started really getting into reading when I was 9. Before then, I'm dyslexic and I really struggled to read. And then I found the Saga of Darren Shan series and that kind of made me fall in love with reading. And so I bought a lot of books and I did not read as many books as I bought, which is kind of just, I guess, which is probably quite a common journey. But then I got into anime when I was about 13 and then subsequently into manga. And basically a lot of my focus shifted reading from novels to manga and then also to fan fiction. And that's pretty much what I've been reading for the last 10 years. Those two topics, not so much novels. But since the pandemic, I've kind of slowly been getting re-interested in wanting to read more novels, and particularly in the last couple of months, I've started watching BookTube again, because I've gone on and off over the years of watching different videos, and I've decided I really want to try and push myself to read more, because I do really enjoy it when I get really into books, and I thought, why not as well, make a YouTube channel, why not? So that's what I'm going to do. So for this TBR, it is based on a game that I've made. Watching people do their TBR for games has been really, really fun, so I thought I would make my own up and give it a go. I won't actually be playing the game in this video because it still wanted to tweak it, but the books I'm reading are from the prompts that I got from that game. The game is just in a giant sketchbook that I just drew out. So it looks like this, and it is very plain. I want to try and decorate it at least a little bit before January's TBR, but it has 3 sections. So it has a manga section, a TV section, and a book section, because I just thought it'd be fun to have multiple categories. This was a way getting my sisters involved, and we would all just trying to read and watch more things, especially stuff potentially that have been putting off or for specific genres. So yeah. There are also skip squares, so where you don't have to do anything, danger squares, where you have to pick a danger prompt, which is not really something like a hard prompt. It's more go back X amount of spaces, swap a prompt with a sibling, that kind of stuff. So we played that, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't film it or anything, but I've got the prompts from it, so that is what my TBR will be based on. And I very crappily written them down on a scrap bit of paper, but I have got all the stuff, so I thought I would show you what I'm going to do. So we'll start with what I'm going to watch, because I only landed on 2 things in that section. The first was one that a TV show that has been on my to-watch list for a long time, and with TV shows and manga, which could also be comics, we are also then rolling a 6-sided die to basically determine how many episodes or volumes we have to read and or watch. So for that one, so for my first prompt, a TV show that's been on my to-watch list for a while, I rolled a 4, so I need to watch 4 episodes, and I decided to watch The Boys. This is a series that I have wanted to watch for ages. My older sister really likes it, and obviously it's quite hyped up. I wanted to watch it mainly just because Carl Urban was in it, who I loved from when I was 11 and was really into Lord of the Rings. I mean, I'm still quite into Lord of the Rings. But yeah, so I thought that'd be a good show to watch, so I need to watch 4 episodes of that. The second prompt that I got was a highly rated IMDb series, and I rolled a 6 for this, so I need to watch 6 episodes, and I think I'm gonna watch either Jujutsu Kaisen or Tokyo Revengers. These are both anime series that I've been meaning to watch for a while, and they've both got, I think, they've either got above a 7.5 or above an 8 on IMDb. I need to double check, but that's kind of, I think, the cutoff point for highly rated. 8 predominantly would be more of a highly rated, I think, but anything over a 7.5 I think would count for that category. So that's what I'm going to be choosing for that prompt. So they're the 2 TV series that I've got to watch throughout December. So for the manga, I got 4. I landed on 4 squares for this one, and then I also got a danger prompt, which was to take a prompt from one of my siblings. So it was my older sister, and she decided to give me 1 prompt. So the prompt that she got me was a series with less than 10 volumes, and then I rolled a die and I landed on 5, which was great because I have the perfect series for that, and it is the Hero Tales series. So I have all 5 volumes. I think in the past, probably a few years ago now, actually probably quite a few years ago now, I have read volume 1, and I remember enjoying it, but I just didn't carry it on. I don't know why. I don't think there was a particular reason. I just stopped. It's based, I think, originally on a old Chinese, I don't know if it's a novel or a story, just because the stories is by Hyungjin Zhao, but the reason I got it is because it is by it is by Hiromu Arakawa, who does Fullmetal Alchemist, which is one of my favorite manga series ever. You might get to see like her style. Yeah, so I have all 5 volumes of them, so that is going to be the first, hopefully, the first 5 manga that I'm going to read for that prompt. And yeah, that's the final volume. That is the final volume, isn't it? Could you imagine it wasn't the final volume? I think it's the final volume. So that's going to be the first 5 volumes that I'm going to read that are for that prompt. So then 2 prompts, actually, I got the same prompt for. So I think in the future, what I'm going to do is take a prompt out and leave it out. So that doesn't happen. So I have different prompts. But I got romance or a shoujo series. So the first one I got 6 volumes for that, and the second one I got 4 volumes. So I'm going to do 10 volumes of the same series. And that is the series that you can see there, that pink one, which is Boys Over Flowers. This is volume 14. This is the next volume I need to read. So I'll hopefully go from 14 to 23, I guess would be 10. This is an extremely popular series. It's quite an old series, it's a 90s series. The Japanese title is Hanayori Dango. It's had multiple like drama reiterations. I think probably its most famous being its K-drama with Lee Min-ho in it, which I've watched. It's really good. I think you can watch it on, well, you can watch it on Netflix in the UK. I don't know about other countries. But it's about this girl, Makino. She is from a poor family, but her family scrimp and save and send her to this prestigious, very rich school where these 4 boys are called the F4, and they're basically like the school princes, and they're also arseholes, and they really bully people, and she doesn't really stand for that. So they end up like issuing her a red card, which kind of like is a symbol for the rest of the school to isolate her. And then she ends up really like challenging them, and then there's romance between her and him, Dormyoji, who is an asshole throughout a lot of the series, but he's also like ends up being quite endearing. Like I don't actually know. I think I remember seeing, this could be completely wrong, but that it was never her it was never the artist's initial intentions to have Makino end up with who she ends up with, but like it was like through the progression of the series, fans loving one character more than the other elevated it. I also think it's a kind of reimagining of Pride and Prejudice, I believe. But yeah, so I will hopefully be reading 10 volumes of Boys Over Flowers. I've had this whole series for ages. I watched one, it was one of the very first shoujo animes I watched, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, I've watched the Korean drama, I've watched the Japanese drama, I've watched bits of the Taiwanese drama. There's also a Thai drama and like a really old 2000s Chinese drama. I think there's been 2 Chinese dramas, all based around this series. So it's really, really good. But it's just been one of the series that I've just never really gotten around to reading the whole of. So hopefully I do in December. So for my next prompt, it was one that I've seen the anime of, but I have not read the manga. So for this, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. I really want to read Hikaru no Go and Soul Eater, both of which I've seen not all of the anime of, but bits of the anime, but I don't think they're on Kindle Unlimited. And while I don't mind buying them, I kind of want to try and use Kindle Unlimited. So I might do this series All Out. So All Out is a rugby anime / manga following this guy, Gion. I can't remember a lot about I'm trying to remember their names now. Gion, who attends a new school, and he's very short, so gets kind of picked on, and like not really picked on, but like teased for being very short, and he wants to join some kind of sport and be the best at it, and it ends up being rugby. And yeah, I remember I really enjoyed what I watched of the anime. I think I was watching it weekly when it came out, which is why I never finished it, because I'm terrible at watching things weekly or reading things weekly. But yeah, so hopefully that will be the series that I will read for that. I don't know if all of it's out on Kindle Unlimited, but I know that at least the first 4 volumes are, which is what I need to read. The last of the manga / graphic novel prompts is a series released post 2022, and for this I got a 6. This I had absolutely no idea what I was going to read, because a lot of, not that it would be impossible for a lot of manga to have 6 volumes, they probably wouldn't all be translated into English, and I didn't particularly want to go and read stuff online. So I was perusing Amazon, looking at Kindle Unlimited stuff, and there is this series on Kindle Unlimited called Night of the Ghoul, which is a Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla's. I think there's 6 issues, and it's a Comixology original, so it's on Comixology. I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, dyslexic, and Kindle Unlimited. So it's got 6 volumes, but it's perfect. I think it was released 2021. So that's what I'm going to read for that. I know nothing about it other than that it was released, it fits my prompt. So yeah, I haven't read huge amounts of graphic novels / comics in the past. So I do want to try and read more of them. I don't want to just read manga for these prompts. So we'll see. So that is all of the manga prompts. So moving on to the books. Now, the game was actually really kind to me. I only got 3 book prompts. They were all different, and I have books for them that fit. So that's great. So the first one was a book that I have had for over 10 years. to be honest, 80% probably of my TBR that I have physically is probably books that I've had for over 10 years. Like I said, I used to buy a lot of books and then didn't read anything, and just don't throw things, like not throw things away, but don't get rid of them, because there's always in my head like, I might read that one day. That's basically what my plan is, hopefully over the next few years, is to do that and then like unhaul them or keep them depending on how I feel about them. So this is one of those books, and that is The Rag Witch by Garth Nix. I have a few of his other books, a few I've read, a few I haven't, but like I said, I've had this for over 10 years. I think this actual book was published in 2005, but I believe the story of The Rag Witch is from 1990. So the story of The Rag Witch is about a brother and sister who find this rag witch on the beach. The sister takes it, the brother asks, tells her not to, he doesn't trust it, he gets evil vibes from it, but she does, and the doll ends up possessing the sister and taking over her body and taking her to this other land. The brother then decides to follow to try and save his sister. So I'm about 50 pages in so far. It's okay. Like, I'm not really someone that DNFs books, which is potentially something that I should try and change, because otherwise I just kind of force myself to slog through books. I mean, this is only 50 pages in. It's about a 400-page book. I believe it's a YA or middle grade series. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not very good at knowing. I just kind of pick books up. I mean, I can only really tell sometimes if there's inappropriate content. I'm not great at reading like writing styles, but I believe that this falls into a YA or a middle grade. But yeah, so that's the first book on the list of a book that I've had for over 10 years. So the second book, which could have also fit in that category, but was a book was a book based in a city hosted by the Olympics. No, it was a book that was based in a city that has hosted the Olympics. And so for this book, I chose Lady of the Shades by Darren Shan. So, like I said earlier, Darren Shan was a big inspiration of what got me into reading. And so I've kind of made it, I'm just going to read all of his books over my lifetime. I've read quite a few of them. I've read his two big series, the Saga of Darren Shan and then the Demonata series. I haven't read Zombie yet, I do intend to. But a lot of his standalones I haven't really read. My older sister read this and she really, really liked it, and she rated it quite highly. She said it's a bit slow to get into, but then it goes off really well and it's quite good. So I'm going to read it. It is set in London. It's about an American author who's on the hunt for his next great book, comes to London looking for inspiration. I don't know anything else on it. It says there's crime lords, and yeah. I quite enjoy going into books with like no real knowledge of what they are, so I'm looking forward to reading this. Like I said, I really like Darren Shan as an author. I find his writing style really, really easy to read. I'm not sure where this falls in categories of books. Like his Saga of Darren Shan series is quite a older child book, so middle grade, I guess. I know but he does also write for adults, so I'm not sure in where the spectrum this falls. I think potentially older, but we shall see. So that's the second book in the series. Like I said, it's not that long. It's 312 pages, so super, super short, and I find this writing really easy to read, so that should be good. And then the third book that I picked was a non-fiction, and I actually just bought this book, I think like the day before. I have a book haul that I'm going to be filming the same day as this, so I don't know which one will be up first, but it'll be in that, and that is The Transgender Issue. So this is by Sean Fay. I apologise if that's wrong, and it's an argument for justice. So this is as it sounds. I mean, annoyingly, I really hate sometimes that non-fiction books don't have like blurbs to read, but I'll read one of these quotes. It's a convincing look into the facts surrounding trans rights, both past and present, sharp, sparkling writing, moving and impressively comprehensive. I really don't know much about the history of the transgender activism that has happened in the UK over the years, and I really want to learn more about that, so that is why I picked up this book. I'm also transgender, so that is also why I picked up this book, and why I'm interested in learning more about what has happened in the past and what issues are currently going on, because I'm quite oblivious to most of it. I just kind of go about my day, but obviously I have quite benefited from, I've extremely benefited from the fights of the people in the past and how they've progressed the movement along, and so I really want to try and educate myself in what that has actually been. This too is only about 270 pages once you have like all of the referencing and stuff, so yeah, I don't read a huge amount of non-fiction, and mostly it's like self-helpy, that kind of stuff that if I do read it, but this would be a really interesting read, so I'm looking forward to reading that. And so they were the three books that I kind of have. I don't have to read. They're the three books I'm going to attempt to read to complete for my TBR game, but I did also want to put some other books on here. The first two, which will also be in my whole video, I picked up from a charity shop, and they are Christmas books. Now, me and my sisters also have a kind of like very casual, very informal book club where we meet every few months to discuss a book. We decided to do one for Christmas, and we chose The Christmas Carol, which I've already read. I read it it took me a couple of days in the end of November I read, and it was boring. But I kind of then was like, why did we decide to do a really generic, old-fashioned Christmas where there's so many other Christmas stories that you could read? And so then I was in a charity shop the other day and I thought I would look up and find some Christmas books. And so I found two that look basically identical, the covers, but they're Christmas stories and they're both like small country, small like country, but I think they're both in the UK as well, Christmas stories. So this one is A Country Village Christmas by Susanna Snow. It is about Olivia spending the festive season in her dad's old house, but she's not alone. An old flame or someone that she potentially was interested in is also living there. And so then I think they get snowed in. So I think it's like a snowed in second chance kind of romance. I don't read a lot of romance fiction. I don't read a lot, point. I don't read a lot, period. But no, I don't read a lot of romance fiction. So I did read The Flat Share over the summer, which I enjoyed, so I thought I wanted to try something Christmassy and romancy. That was my ideas, because a lot of the books in the charity shop, when I was looking at Christmas books, were like post-World War II books. And I was like, I don't want to read a post-World War II Christmas book. I want to read a cute romance Christmas book. So that's A Cozy Village Christmas. And then the other one is A Perfect Cornish Christmas by Philippa Ashley. And this is about a girl who finds out her father isn't actually her biological father, so she heads to Cornwall to try and find out secrets, but ends up getting, I guess, pulled into the Christmas festivities. I imagine there's romance in it. I don't think it actually says. Oh no, it does. Jude. She meets Jude Pembers, whose charm threatens to complicate her life further. So yeah, that's another book. I'm hoping to get to at least one of these, because if I don't read them before Christmas, I won't read them after Christmas. They'll have to be next December, because I'm just someone who, the moment it's like the 27th, I just stopped doing Christmas stuff. Christmas is over for me. I'm done with it. I work in retail, so from now it's all about Christmas. So like after the 27th, not interested in Christmas. So one or both of these books I really like to get to alongside my other three. And then I do have a couple of other books that I'm kind of like reading, dabbling with. The first one is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This was going to be initially the book club book me and my sisters read together before we decided to do something Christmas themed. So I requested it out from the library. So I decided to still get it out and give it a read. I'm about 60 pages in so far, and I'm really, really enjoying it. The world setting and the build up, and also for the characters, I think it's all really good. It's been like really easy to get into and learn how this world works and how the magic system and whatnot works. Magic, I guess, would you call it magical power? Either way. So I will at some point be finishing this. If it's not in December, hopefully in January. And then the other book that I may or may not get to is United as One. So this is the 7th book and the final book in the Lorien Legacy series, which is, or the I Am Number 4 series, which is the first book. This book also, just randomly, it looks completely different to the rest of my books that I have of the series, because I bought them in a bundle from eBay and I thought it was the whole set, and then realised there was a 7th. And I actually found this when I was in Thailand in a secondhand bookshop. It was 95 baht. So I grabbed it there because I was like, how random is that I find the one book I need in the series in halfway across the world, but in English. So I have started reading it. I'm about 80 pages in. Yeah, 90 pages in. So I will, again, finish this at some point. I read the last two. I kind of just read one every other month. So again, like I said, I've been slowly getting myself back into reading, and this series has really been helped with that. I really, really enjoy it. It is a YA. I don't think it's a middle grade. It's a YA series. It centers around a group of kids who are aliens and have come to Earth after their planet was destroyed, and they've all been given numbers, and they can only be kind of killed off in number order by these other big bad aliens. And so you follow 4, or John Smith, as he is called, as basically he kind of fights for survival. Like I said, this is the 7th book in the series, so a lot has happened since then. But yeah, I really like the series. I don't really hear anyone talk about it. The movie got made when it was like the big hype of making YA books, like around the time of Hunger Games and Divergent and Twilight and all of that. And I, again, really liked the movie, which is the first, it was the first thing I saw of the series, which is what led me to then want to read the books. But yeah, I don't really hear anyone talk about it. So I really like it. There is, I think, a 3-volume spin-off series. The last one came out in 2019 as well, so I don't know if there's going to be more. And then there's also like a bunch of small side stories about like the other numbers and stuff, which I will eventually get to. But yeah, so that is also hopefully a potential read for the month. And then the only other book I did want to mention, because I do technically read it, but it's not a book that I will finish because it's like a daily book. It's just The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. I got this, I think, last Christmas, and I have not read it every single day, but I kind of go through spurts of reading it quite consistently and then not touching it for months and then reading it quite consistently. So this is also a book I read, but I'm never really going to be able to track this properly unless I sat down and read it cover to cover, which I never will do. So I am also reading this. So that's my quite ambitious actually, TBR for December. Quite ambitious seeing as I have I'm coming to the end of my semester, I've got 3 deadlines due, I'm doing a work experience and I work 20 hours a week and then Christmas. So I don't actually know if I'll get all that done. I'd love to get the 3 that are on my TBR done as well as a Christmas. I might try and prioritize the Christmas ones as opposed to my TBR though, just because like I said, once it gets past Christmas, I'm not going to read them until next year. So then I will just add to my unread TBR on my bookshelves, which is what my goal is, to try and really get down through trying to push myself to read more. So that is my first TBR video. Thank you guys so much for watching this. If you have, if you've made it this far, let me know if you are reading anything or any recommendations, if you've read anything that I've shared and what you think of them. And I shall see you hopefully soon. Bye.